do you want to tell us a bit about yourself, what you do at Download Festival, and then we'll go over to Dannika?
Absolutely. So I'm Jenny. I've been with Live Nation for 5 years and working on Download for about 4 of those. And I'm basically part of the main booking team for the headliners and all the acts that you would see in the main arena. And as of Download Pilot, we've become a sub-team, me and Dannika, who book the Village and basically all the late night entertainment and the RIP stage and anything that is extra, basically.
Oh yeah, so I'm Dannika. I've been working with Live Nation for about 3.5 years, and I started working on Download just before the pilot became a thing. So yeah, that was my first one, which was very exciting. And in terms of my role, it's exactly the same as Jenny's. We do the same thing. We work together a lot. And yeah, we just think about this festival for about 80% of our lives.
And so does most people, I think, as well.
Yeah, I mean, you get paid to do it. Like, I just think about 8% of the time and I don't get paid for it, so that's awesome.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, no, we have a great job.
Just because you mentioned it, and like you're talking about the pilot, just very quickly jump back to that, if that's all right, because what an amazing successful event that was, and what an amazing moment that really was for everybody. Like, I think I was there purely as just a customer and I had the best weekend ever. Yeah, it'd just be lovely to get your thoughts on how you thought the pilot went.
It feels like a weird fever dream now, I swear. It was such a strange time for music, certainly for any live events. And I remember I got a call from Cam, one of the bookers on Download, maybe 4 weeks before the event was meant to happen, to be like, Download's happening this year. And I said, Cam, if that's a joke, that's really cruel. Like, I feel very sensitive about that. And it turned out to be true. We just had 4 weeks to book 2 stages. Everyone was it was all UK based because obviously there was no travel. So that created a beautiful opportunity to showcase everyone in one event. And agents, backstage crew, artists, all the managers, everyone was just wanting it to happen. And there was such goodwill around just approaching any obstacles that came our way, like fees, scheduling, everyone just wanted to help to make it happen. And that's the only way it happened in 4 weeks. It just worked around the clock.
Was that your timeline, 4 weeks?
We had 4 weeks to book it from scratch to it happening.
Congrats, man. Amazing to pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, it was insane. It was really strange to be there, but also actually just felt very right. I think when we're on site and walking around, we're like, yeah, this is actually normal, even though obviously we hadn't done anything like that for such a long time. There were obviously loads of pros to the pilot. It was 2 stages, it flip-flopped. I think I saw so many bands that weekend who were all amazing, and just really short walks from the stages. And so yeah, it was just really great. And like say the silent disco after as well was just insane. I don't know if Download had ever done a silent disco before that, but it was amazing. And we had just like so many different DJs and things like that. And that kind of helped to lead us to creating the kind of new Village that we came to do last year.
Yeah, and the Village has come such a big part of Download now. Like, I've been going since I was like 15, like 2003. And I remember it being like just a little room next to where you could buy some cans of beer. There was a little DJ, and then all of a sudden there was a football pitch, and there was some fairground rides, and then the year after that there's a monster stage, and then the doghouse gets introduced. And like, how do you see the Village as a part of Download?
Well, we're very much heavily invested in making it as essential a part of Download as any headliner or main arena act. You kind of are spending, if you're camping, probably a third of your day there anyway, socializing, catching up, partying. So we just want to continue to grow it, explore what works really well, what kind of is okay to move on from. And just, we are always on the forums. I don't know if anyone knows this. We're constantly checking out what it is that people want to see. We're very responsive to what individual requests are, because I think people's extracurricular tastes are different from what they'd want to see in the arena. It's a lot more flexible. It's such a space to kind of showcase all the things that make up this kind of community outside of just the music. I mean, one thing we absolutely loved from last year were the secret acoustic sets. They absolute experiment.
The Malevolence one was incredible, by the way.
Honestly, my favorite part of the weekend last year were those sets. So we're definitely trying to bring those back this year. Timeline wise, we're very much putting out the offers, putting out the feelers as we speak. So, you know, those people we're going to reach out to are top secret, but hopefully you can expect to see some more of those. We'll be welcoming comedy back on one of the smaller stages, because that's a true like staple and like such an enjoyable thing to be able to see comedians alongside your music and your raving, I guess. We started introducing, and I think there's been in the past things like the air guitar competitions or famous first words, which are more like crowd interaction bookings, which we think go down really well, break up the just listening portion of download really well. We want to bring that back, fitness classes to get you ready for a day in the arena, kind of those joints from sleeping in tents. And definitely welcoming back all your favorite DJs and club nights from around the country. That our inboxes are full of people just desperate to get back onto that stage to play their amazing sets for you all. We're trying to find a way to reintroduce that silent disco that we are just speaking about. A bigger site naturally comes with its own challenges, but it's a work in progress, and we hope to be able to deliver that as well, to relive that very strange, very loud, no music, but all voices singing.
You staying with the solid ground move after the move from in 2022 to the solid arena?
Yes, I think it's now permanently going to be there. And it basically just allows it to be so much more inclusive. It doesn't become so subject to weather. It's really easily accessible, and it creates more permanence, doesn't it? And a bit more stability for whatever England throws at us.
Yeah, and I mean, this year as well, for 2023, we were just really lucky last year with the weather that we got, and obviously it was all open air last year, so we are hoping that this year we're going to have some cover over the village, and it will just be, you know, sustainable in any kind of situation, and so yeah, it shouldn't affect the weather won't affect kind of what's happening up there too much. Something
that I really enjoyed when I got to site last year was, so I've been going since 2007, and I've always been used to the doghouse being in like the tent thing, and then I got there and I was like, where's the doghouse? And I realised I was stood in the middle of like the containers. I was like, oh wait, I'm literally in the middle of it here. So that was really cool. You say that's the same layout this year?
Yeah, like Jenny said, it won't be exactly the same. We're still kind of discussing different options with the production team at the moment, but all we know is that it will definitely be on hard standing, and we should have cover, which are the main things. I
mean, they're two key components. If you get them, everything else is going to be all right, isn't it?
Exactly, that's exactly how we feel.
The booking the bands all go through like one person's say so, or does people book different areas, like different headliners, different stages? How does that all work?
So it's actually very much done by committee, I would say. So the actual booking team for the main arena consists of Andy Copping, who everyone knows, Cam Hack and Sean Ryman, and myself and Dannika. We tend to be in touch throughout the year, sometimes multiple times a week, and it is just an exercise in putting forward bands, either personal like people that you're a fan of, or people that agents have submitted, or acts that you have heard on a radio station, putting it out to the team, and we'll just have really frank discussions about what's right and what's not right. And not even just in terms of in general for the festival, but for like the very specific slot that we're discussing in that moment. And we do that for basically 6 or 7 months before the first headline announcement. And we continue to do it right up until we'll probably be doing up to April at this point. And everyone gets to have their say, and there isn't ever a situation where it doesn't feel like we've reached a fair decision. It's obviously also very much down to bands' availabilities and other scheduling, things like that. But the actual team work together in what gets through and what doesn't.
So can you tell us what bands that you guys have personally booked this year on the lineup or not?
So Andy, Cam and Sean kind of tend to deal with like the official offers and like the negotiations with the agent. But like Jenny said, we certainly have our input and we beg for certain bands. So for example, like this year, Jenny and I were really excited about Evanescence, and we just wouldn't stop going on about it. So we have both loved them since we were, their debut album like 20 years ago when we were kind of like 15. So we were just super happy when they confirmed. As you can expect, like with anyone who you're a massive fan of, it just being able to get them onto the lineup is a great feeling. It's like booking your dream festival, like when people do that online, it's just sort of like that. It's the best job.
Yeah, so I work obviously a lot more lower scale than you guys in show booking and stuff, and I've had some ridiculous rider requests in the past. What is your most ridiculous rider request you've ever had? You don't need to name the band, I just want to know what is the maddest thing you've ever been asked for.
Do you know what? The one that comes to mind, probably that people are actually familiar with because it was that huge, was that AC/DC stage from, I think it was 2010. And maybe you don't think of it as a rider request. You're just like, oh, did they want all the coloured M&Ms picked out of their bulb? It was literally a rider request for a dedicated stage with insane, amazing production. And that request actually came in around April time, festival being in June. And for those who don't know, that timeline is very, very tight. You would tend to be working on that a year before, maybe 9 months before. So that was a surprise.
No, that's a nice way to put it.
That was a surprise. But you know what? Like, first of all, everyone who made it possible, all the backstage crew, tech teams, anyone who does the logistics, the download, logistics for the band, evidently made it happen. And to this day is still, as far as I've heard, one of people's top performances at download ever. It paid off. So that's massive, very memorable.
I don't think my eardrums have ever recovered from that, to be honest. It was loud, but yeah, it was great. I remember getting there and seeing like the two stages. I was like, what? But yeah, I can't even imagine like that coming through as like an email. It's like, by the way, we're bringing our own stage.
Finding a way to be like, okay, let's explore the idea and make it happen.
You might bring your own sound guy and a few of your own tech guys, but your own stage is it's the next level, isn't it?
100%. Legends.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, not many people could request that and get it. So
no, they're on a pedestal on their own, aren't they, AC/DC? So
moving on to this year's event. Obviously, it's camping sold out. Congratulations. Was you anticipating that would sell out so quickly? And do you find yourself now in a sort of a situation of, yeah, we did it, we're really pleased with that, or is there a little bit of frustration that, well, there's still hundreds of people online saying, I want tickets, or is it a bit of both? Is it a bit of a mix of that emotion?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, with it being the 20th anniversary and then with us kind of announcing Metallica for a double set as well, like we were hoping that we'd sell lots of tickets. I guess you can never know, and you can never expect it. And we certainly didn't expect it to happen this quickly. So many fans bought their tickets as kind of early bird tickets before anything was even announced. So it's just kind of great that they know that there are going to be loads of brilliant bands on, and they're just happy to come knowing like the experience that they'll get in general, just from coming to download, regardless of that lineup. So yeah, it's both satisfying for it to sell out, of course, but it's kind of just brilliant to see the scene thriving, and in an ideal world, we'd want everybody to be able to get a ticket and be able to come if they wanted to come. But, obviously, download site is only so big.
And it's a big site at best as well.
Yeah, everyone just needs to get in there with their early bird tickets next year, I think.
Yeah, but also with download, I'd say it's very much wanting to be there every single year, but also it is the experience of coming year after year after year. So I just hope that there's no one's discouraged. 2024 will probably be amazing also. And it's kind of, you come for the community, you come for more than just the bands that you're seeing that particular year. And I think that's more true with the download crowd than any other festival.
Yeah, 100%. I've said it. I think everybody who's ever been will say the same. It's not just about the bands, it's about so much more. And, you know, it is the village, it is the after parties, you know, it is like back in the day when you used to have like Pendulum playing at 2 a.m, these secret rave tents and stuff like that. You know, you never know quite what's around the corner.
I'm really happy to hear that you're going to be bringing back a couple of those secret acoustic sets, because that Malev one last year, like I was done in after Kiss. Like I was a shell of a person being there from Wednesday, and then someone messaged me just as I got back to my camp. It's like, oh, Malev about to do acoustic set, and I was just like, sound gone. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what you've got in store.
Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, the bands even were just delighted with the response. They also walked in just being like, this is the first time this is happening. We'll just see how it goes. And every single band was just like, thank you, that was brilliant. So.
Yeah, I think those just kind of exceeded, shall I say, everyone's expectations. Even Jenny and I, we had no idea what to expect. We booked it, we hoped for the best, and the bands were all amazing. So we had Malevolence, Boston Manor, and Holding Absence, and all their sets were amazing. And I think all of them ended up playing for longer than they were booked to play, just because they were having such a good time. And you could just, that kind of really intimate, like crowd interaction and stuff was just, it was great. It was so good.
Special.
So then I guess we'll just wrap this up really with, you know, who or what are you most looking forward to about this year?
I mean, in a very biased way, I can't wait for the village.
Do you spend a lot of time down there?
We spent a lot of time there last year, but luckily it's not massively active in the middle of the day, so we still got to enjoy most of the festival. We were just there for any early morning stuff, and certainly till 3 a.m. every night. So preparing ourselves physically for that again.
Just 2 hours sleep a night.
Basically. But yeah, it's just a really buzzing place to be booking right now. There's a lot of new energy redirected to it post-COVID, and I just love making it a staple for the festival going experience. The other thing, in the arena, one can't overlook the arena at all. And there's so many great bands. I'm particularly excited to see what Bring Me do with their performance and their production. Mostly because I've seen them a few times, either at Reading or at their own tours, and they bring their A game. Like, they're really top performers right now, but I know that this is a milestone performance for them. This is a moment in their career, and I just know that they're going to do it justice, and I can't wait to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. They've been amazing the last few times I've seen them, so that's going to be really exciting. I think for me as well, Placebo, they're one of my favorite bands. They're obviously a band that have been around since like the 90s, but I believe this is their first time ever playing Download, so that's really exciting. But also just acts on some of the smaller stages like Brutus and Crawlers and people like that. They've just been doing like really exciting things at the moment, so I'm kind of excited to see how they go down. And then also I want to mention is Empire State Bastard, who is Simon from Biffy Clyro's new kind of side project, which is like a really kind of heavy thing that he's doing. So
that'll be packed though, surely just for him. I was saying to Richard, I'm really excited for like Terror and Ingested. I'm a heavy boy at heart, and yeah, that's to have like them sort of bands, and Lorna Shore this year. I'm really gonna just catch me at the front for them guys.
Yeah, Lorna Shore is a crazy one. I mean, their last show they did here, I think they upgraded it about 3 times. It was like they've kind of they're a really kind of one to watch, aren't they?
Well, that's great, guys. Look, we really appreciate your time, and I think everyone's super excited for this year's event. I'm sure it's going to be great. You'll see us in the village, you'll see us around site, and we'll say hello if we can.
Cool, thanks for having us.
Thanks everyone. Bye.